I have with me the erudite Kerala Governor, Mr. Arif Mohammed Khan. An Islamic scholar, Mr. Khan is known to be outspoken and has never shied away from giving his views on various issues, including controversial ones. He is also counted among a handful of prominent Muslim voices who has called for reforms in Muslim laws. Welcome to the print, sir.
Thank you very much.
So your tenure as Kerala Governor has seen lot of run-ins with the Pinarayi Vijayan-led left-front government in the state. You have been called a BJP RSS agent. There have been demands to abolish the governor's post by the party in the state. How do you see this?
We are a democracy and everybody is entitled to her opinion. And this is not the first time. So many times in the past, this kind of demands have been made. It is for the Parliament to consider, and we also have to take into consideration the reasons and the logic which impelled the Constituent Assembly to create the existing constitutional arrangement. Secondly, you have said that I have many run-ins. No, only on one issue. No other issue we had any problem. And the issue was, once we accept the principle of autonomy of the universities, that means that there should be no executive interference in the universities, which means no interference by the government. Can there be greater proof of interference that the recent judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, if you look at the appointments of the Vice Chancellors in the light of that judgment, out of 13, 11 Vice Chancellors' appointment is void ab initio, right from day one. Why? Because the government insisted to have Chief Secretary on the selection committee. And Honorable Supreme Court has said that presence of a non-academic on the selection committee will make the whole process vicious. Further, they have said that according to UGC regulation, the selection committee cannot recommend just one name, because when you recommend one name, you bind the hands of the Chancellor to appoint that one. It has to be necessarily a panel of 3 names. Out of 11, in almost 9 or 10, there was a recommendation of only one name. So, can there be a greater proof of how, when in my case, I refused to do these things. All these appointments were done before I became governor. Now, in the matter of the new appointments, I refused to have their choice as my nominee. And then when they insisted and they created a situation, I immediately wrote to them. I said, please make some alternative arrangement. You take over as Chancellor. But don't force me to do things which, in my opinion, are not proper, are not legal, and they violate not only the provisions of the law, but the spirit also. Then Chief Minister wrote me 3 letters persuading me to continue as Chancellor, which I did not accept because it was riddled with if and buts. Finally, the 4th letter, which was totally unconditional, I can give a copy to you, wherein Chief Minister assured me there will be no interference from the government and government shall not allow interference from any other quarter. Then they persuaded me to resume my duties. But within 2 or 3 months, an appointment was made in Kannur University of a senior official working in the office of the Chief Minister. His spouse was appointed as associate professor. I received so many representations that she was not even qualified to be summoned for interview. I stayed that appointment. Fortunately, that matter went to the High Court also. High Court not only cancelled the appointment, but High Court asked the university to revise the list as she is unqualified to be considered, not for appointment, even to be considered for the appointment. From that day, they became very hostile. They announced Ghirav of the Raj Bhavan. They declared that governor will no more be chancellor of the university. They are very, I'm clear in my mind. I can't arrogate to myself all these things. I can only highlight the issues. But it is for the elected government to decide what kind of universities they want to have. Our school system in Kerala is one of the best in the country. But higher education, you look at the letter which has been written by Professor Bharat Ratan, Professor C.N.R. Rao. He says that a state which has a very robust school system, the university are in very bad condition. Professor K.N. Panikar, who himself is a leftist, he has written a big article in a journal in which he says that higher education is in doldrums. So, it is not correct to say that we have run in on many issues. No other issue except the university. And that is one issue wherein, according to now they are trying to change it, or they wish to change it. Not trying to change it, they wish to change it. That's a different matter. But so far, the existing laws are concerned, the duty to ensure, and I have made it clear again and again, as Chancellor, it is not my duty to run the university. It is my duty to protect the autonomy of the university from any outside interference, including that of the government. So there is actually there is no conflict between the government and me. And I have said, it is on record, that if you show one example where I have tried to encroach on your jurisdiction, I shall put in my papers on that very day. They have not been able to show. And I can show so many things where they are interfering in the university, which is the domain of the Chancellor, on a regular basis.
So the left government has also alleged that the governor is delaying key bills. So what's behind the delay in this bill, especially the bills like the Lokayukta or the one restricting the governor's power as chancellor of universities?
The basic judicial, basic principle of jurisprudence is that you cannot be judge in your own cause. The Lokayukta bill has been framed in a manner where those against whom complaint is lodged, they will decide the fate of the complaint. So how can you allow that? In fact, when I look at the constitutional scheme, any law passed by the legislature or parliament somebody can challenge it in the High Court or Supreme Court. But when I look at the office of the governor, the power which has been given to the governor, I feel like as if it is a sort of review of, first of all, governor is part of the legislature. Secondly, he has the authority to review whether the provisions of the proposed bill are in consonance with the provisions of the Constitution and the law and their spirit. Secondly, about the Chancellor bill. Chancellor bill, the rules of the assembly, there is a rule book, how business is to be conducted in the house. It clearly provides that if the state assembly legislates on a subject matter which is in the concurrent list, then they need prior consultation with the central government, which they did not do.
There was no prior consultation.
No prior consultation. Secondly, what they have proposed is one chancellor for each university. Will that involve some expenditure or not? And if there is a bill which involves financial expenditure, it is called money bill. Then it requires prior approval of the governor. In order to circumvent that legal provision, what they have done? They have given the responsibility to provide finances to the universities.
Directly.
In the bill. So it is a clear-cut violation. They need prior approval of the governor for any money bill. where some expenditure is involved. Here, if this bill becomes a law, then the Chancellor is not going to sit on the road. It will involve some expenditure. Then expenditure, who will provide the money? They have given the responsibility to the university. But universities are also spending public money. They are receiving money from public exchequer, from the state government and from UGC. So if you are clearly violating the law of the land, secondly, last 3 years, I have tried my best. I have written so many letters. And I have reminded the Chief Minister it is his constitutional duty to brief me on a regular basis. This is a provision of the Constitution, which he has not done. What he does, he writes letters to me, and when I say to him that it is your duty to come and brief me, he sends some minister. I show him the letter of the Chief Minister, which is contradictory to what minister is saying. Then minister has no reply. And Chief Minister does not want to come to Raj Bhavan. So let them go and challenge it. I will produce if it comes to that, I will produce all the letters, how many times I have requested him to come and brief me. I have certain doubts which need to be cleared. And he has not responded. So let it be decided.
And no reasons have been given also.
No reason has been given. Not only that, height of, I would say, the violation of the protocol and basic courtesy. Sometimes he had not even replied to my letters. Because the first thing earlier you had said, because they say that Raj Bhavan is acting like, what you said, BJP officer.
Agent of RSS BJP.
So actually this whole thing started from CA. On CA in Kerala, the government and the opposition, they were on one page. And I as governor, it is my duty. What oath I have taken? I have taken the oath to defend, preserve and protect the constitution and the laws. A law which has been passed by parliament, which has been signed by the Honorable President. I am representative of the President. I try to tell them, if I don't agree with it, I should resign. But if I continue, I am continuing in office, it means I don't disagree with that provision. Then it becomes my duty to defend it when it is under attack. They were attacking it. They were they were doing things which are not permitted by law, like taking up the matter, a resolution in the assembly. I pointed out that citizenship is a subject which comes under the exclusive domain of the central government. State assembly has nothing to do with this. You have every right to give your opinion. You can pass resolutions in your parties. You can hold public meetings, but assembly forum should not be misused to wax eloquent on a subject which does not come under your jurisdiction. So that is the only thing which I pointed out. And because of that, they say, if I hold an opinion that what Mahatma Gandhi had promised to the Hindus who were left behind and who were not allowed by Pakistan authorities to migrate, overwhelming majority migrated to India. But we cannot forget that Liaquat Ali Khan, the then Prime Minister, is on record having said that if we allow these people to go, then who will clean our washrooms? They were not allowed to come. Now, that time Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Maulana Azad, Sardar Patel, everybody is on record having said that you had not, because of this artificial line, you have not become alien to us. It is your right, you can come to India at any point of time and you will have citizenship. But that promise was never translated into law. There are so many people who came to protect their lives and honor. I will give you, just go to the internet and just of one journalist, Mehmal Sarfaraz, a lady journalist of Pakistan. See how many articles she has written on how Hindu young girls are kidnapped, converted, and then forced to marry older men. Just read the articles of Mehmal Sarfaraz. So this is something which our national leaders had given, had made a promise to them. That is being translated into law. Their right is being recognized that they can come and they will get citizenship. But it does not prevent the government from considering the applications which come normally from any other person, from Pakistan, from any other place. It does not prevent. But they have made such a big issue, saying that now citizenship will be decided on the basis of the religious affiliation of a person. No, that is not correct.
So, like Kerala, this government versus governor confrontation right now is playing out in other southern states also, including Telangana and Tamil Nadu. Recently, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin said that, there should be a time frame for governor to clear the bills. So, how do you see this? And also, don't you think that, such government versus governor confrontation, it casts a shadow on governance in the state?
Not really. Not really. And then secondly, we are a democracy. Everybody is entitled to her opinion. If he feels that there should be some time limit, I think the existing constitutional arrangement is working well, where governor, if he has any doubts, he wants government to clear the doubts. If still he is dissatisfied, he refers the matter to the Honorable President. So you are not, in any case, I'm exercising only a delegated authority on behalf of the President of India. So then tomorrow somebody can say that this right should not belong even to the President. So these are, but we should take it with a attitude that in democracy everybody has right to give their opinion, and everybody's opinion should be considered on the basis of merit.
So the left government in Kerala has been embroiled in several controversies in recent times where you have intervened. For instance, the appointment of comrades as personal staff in ministers' offices and paying them lifelong pension, the appointment of vice chancellors at universities in the state. So how do you see
I have
this?
already told you, if you go by the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, almost every appointment of every vice chancellor is void ab initio, except 2 universities where appointments were made after I came to Kerala. All appointments are void ab initio. So, and then apart from university, you said, Kerala is the only state. Here at center, I was cabinet minister here. I could appoint 5 or 6 persons on a co-terminus basis.
In your personal staff? In
the personal staff. Kerala, every minister has the right to appoint 25 persons in the personal staff. 25. And in 2 years' time, they become entitled to lifelong pension. And the practice is that after completion of 2 years, every one of them is made to resign. Another set of 25 persons comes. So one minister in one term produces 50 full-time party workers who are paid salary by the government. Is it moral? Is it okay? Particularly at a time when Kerala is under heavy financial debt, is it okay? But because unfortunately every political party there who have been, and almost all of them have been in the government, one front or the other, they are all getting benefit. Therefore, nobody raises their voice. This is height of misuse of the public funds, where a person who is appointed all over the country on a co-terminus basis, you are making that person entitled to a lifelong pension. No, even in this matter, Chief Minister's private secretary, who earlier was member of the Rajya Sabha, sitting in the CM office, what kind of influence he is bringing on the Kannur University Vice Chancellor, that his spouse is appointed as associate professor, although she lacks qualifications, and nobody has taken moral responsibility for it. High Court has struck it down and has asked the university to revise the list. Her name should not appear in the merit list. Yet nobody has taken moral responsibility. So what can you do? Actually, the problem of the Kerala is, I personally feel, Kerala people are so good, highly talented. And some of the surveys have pointed out that after 10+2, all bright students of Kerala, they leave Kerala. They are so talented. They get admission in all the national institutions. There are no jobs in Kerala, but they find jobs in foreign countries, they find jobs in other states in India. Instead of becoming very positive attitude of normal Keralite, that instead of becoming victim of frustration and disillusionment, they find avenues outside. And therefore, I have said several times that Keralites are so bright and talented that the whole world is taking advantage of them, except the state of Kerala. Only those who cannot go outside, who are not accepted, they stay behind.
So the opposition parties and the left liberal intelligentsia believe that the Modi government is anti-Muslim. How come you have a contrarian view? Also, you are among a handful of prominent Muslim figures who have supported the BJP's Muslim-related policy, be it on triple talaq or batting for the uniform civil code.
You think this is teen talaq is the BJP policy? I resigned on this issue in 1986 from the government of India when BJP had only 2 members in the House. How come it becomes a BJP policy? How come you are not concerned that so many women were thrown on the road and their children, they had nowhere to go? Do you know after 2019, the decline in the divorce rate in Muslim community? Are you aware? I'm asking you. Are you aware the decline of the divorce rate in the Muslim community after 2019? How much? It is more than 95%. Now, are we not entitled to be happy with this situation where all these poor women, and mostly it happened, the triple divorce happened in the lower sections of the society, where women were in no position to maintain themselves. And their children were totally became shelterless. So are we not happy that evil has come to an end? Even if it is BJP policy, can there be anything better than that? And it is after almost, in India, this law was in force since mid 13th century, which means after about, it took more than 800 years to put an end to this. And surely here, if not today, maybe not today because of the political reasons, but the future generations of Muslim women particularly will remember Shri Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, with great sense of gratitude. What a weight has been removed from them. They grew under this, they grew up, when they grew up, they were constantly told that after marriage, if you do not behave, the husband will throw you out simply by making 3 pronouncements. The sense of insecurity which gripped her mind and affected her mental development, personality development, that weight is no more there. That pressure is no more there. So do we need to celebrate it, or do we need to find fault with it?
Yeah, it is liberating for Muslim women.
In 1986, there were two parties which gave full support to me when I resigned from the government. One was BJP, although it did not have many members in the House, only two, but Rajya Sabha there were. And the other party was, parties were left parties, CPI and CPM, mainly CPM. EMS Namboodiripad went extra mile in my support. And today, what a sorry state of affairs, that Chief Minister belonging to the same party in Kerala, this law was passed in 2000, became law in 2019. In 2023, Shri Pinarayi Vijayan, who belongs to the same party, who was a protege of EMS Namboodiripad, is finding fault with this law, and he is supporting triple divorce. I mean, what a monstrosity.
You are among a few prominent Muslim voices who have been batting for uniform civil code.
Well, uniform civil code is part of the directive principles of state policy. Sometime when I will refer to an interview which was given by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to one lady whose surname was Zinkin, Taya Zinkin. She was wife of a senior ICS officer. When they were, after completing their service, when they were leaving in late 50s, then she had a long interview with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and she asked him point blank, what you consider your life's greatest achievement? Now, a man who was in the front rank for the fight for the liberation of the country from foreign yoke, he does not count that as his greatest achievement. He says, the greatest achievement of my life is that the rights which were denied to Hindu women for centuries, I was able to secure some of those rights. And then she asks him, and what is your life's greatest disappointment? He says, I could not do the same thing for my Muslim sisters. The provision is there. Who did it for the Muslim sisters? Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Will Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, if he were alive, he will be happy with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, or he will be upset with him for doing this? Unfortunately, those who claim the legacy of Pandit Nehru do not understand this. Even those who claim the legacy of EMS Namboodiripad are not true to that legacy. Uniform civil code is not about bringing uniformity. This country cherishes diversity. We have all kind of diversity. We love diversity. We consider diversity a source of strength. But because we believe that all people cannot be confined to one single interpretation of reality. We have no problem with diversity. If the day uniform civil code becomes reality, it does not mean that everybody will be forced to perform the marriage, solemnize the marriage in the same manner, same everything. No. Even among Hindus, where Hindu code bill is applicable, and it is applicable to Jains, Sikhs and Buddhists also, have we been able to achieve uniformity? No, there is no law cannot be used for that purpose. Uniform civil code is not meant to bring about that uniformity. What uniform civil code is about is to create uniformity of justice. You make any arrangement. Today, Supreme Court has recognized that even if you are not married and you are living together, you have certain rights against each other. As long as there is no dispute, live happily. But if there is a dispute and matter goes to the court, then court cannot dispense justice. You are Hindu, therefore this is the justice for you. You are Muslim, therefore the justice is different. You are Parsi, therefore the justice is different. This should come to an end.
There has to be uniformity.
Uniformity of justice can be the goal of uniform civil code, and I stand firmly for it. Uniformity of customs, rights, how you solemnize your marriage. For instance, Muslim law provides that the husband should pay meher, dower to the wife. Is the Uniform Civil Code, do you think the Uniform Civil Code is going to prohibit it? Certainly not. The fact is that Muslim husbands, in any case, do not pay this meher, and that is why this, when there are differences and unfortunately separation, then the question of meher comes up. Otherwise, if you go purely by the spirit of religion and the provision of the religion, then meher should be paid before the consummation of marriage. So Uniform Civil Code, these people, some of our people, they are using it only to create misunderstanding. And when the forces of who create misunderstanding are at work, then we also need to take more initiatives to dispel those misunderstandings. And there the role of media becomes important.
So how do you see this BJP's outreach to the Christians in Kerala? A section of Christians are said to be wary of love jihad cases in Kerala. Are there love jihad cases in Kerala?
I do not know. First, explain to me what is love jihad. First, I should know what is the definition of love jihad. Secondly, I do not know what outreach you are talking about. Right from day one, Prime Minister is saying, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Priyas. Is there anything, whatever has been done recently, is that more important than what he has been saying right from the day he has become Prime Minister? And one more question I will ask. Is there any single complaint in the whole of the country that all the welfare schemes which he has launched, whether it is about the distribution of the foodstuffs, it is about the gas connections, or Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, is there any single complaint in the country where it has been alleged that some discrimination is being made on the basis of religion? In fact, I remember last parliament or assembly election, one leader of Assam, I don't want to name anybody, when his numbers were drastically reduced in the assembly, and media people asked him that what happened to you, to your party? He said, how can you fight this distribution of the gas? All women voted for the party which was opposed to them, which is BJP. So who are these women? Which religion they belong to? About whom he was talking about? Wait for some more years. I can assure you that this ban of triple divorce is such a tremendous thing which has happened that every woman who understands this issue, and I do not say only it has benefited only Muslim women. I say it has benefited every woman of India. Why? Because these Muslim women who came to the court, they were totally without resources. It has given confidence to every woman that if they can fight, so if any discrimination happens with us in our office space, domestically, anywhere, we can also fight successfully. So I have no doubt in my mind that when that realization comes, at least women will lend full support and they will admire Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi for this great thing which has happened.
Sir, there was a time when you had taken on former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi on the Shah Bano case. Do you think the Congress has changed since then? Because the party is still being accused of appeasing Muslims.
No, basically the question is, I think I made it a point yesterday, that Britishers never considered India as a nation. They said this is conglomeration of communities and castes. And we don't recognize anybody as representative of everybody. Then they had separate electorate, they had policies, they had constitutional provisions which sought to further divide the people, create walls between them. Ultimately, it culminated into the partition of the country. Now we have a different constitution. Now, citizen is the building block of the country. If anybody who tries to promote sexual interest, yes, of the have-nots. But otherwise, if somebody talks in terms of sectional interest, then they do not understand the provisions of the Constitution, neither its spirit, nor the spirit of the national movement. Because national movement, our leaders, now we are going to this extent of saying, Britishers were saying that India is not a nation. We are saying, some of these people are saying that India is a union of states. Union of states is a constitutional arrangement for the administration of the country. But that does not undermine the oneness of Indian nation. But if you lack that perspective, if you lack that understanding, then what one can do?
So how do you look at Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra, this debate between politics of hate and politics of love?
I do not know, and I do not wish to comment on any individual leader, but I view with favor any exercise which is done to go to the people, contact them, and I would appreciate more if instead of haranguing them, you listen to them and try to understand what the people think. So on a matter of principle I am speaking, but on individuals thing, in things done by the individuals, that I do not wish to comment upon.
With this, we come to the end of this interview with Mr. Khan. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Mashuji. Thank you.